What is up, friends? Today I'm going to be going through the internet looking for differing opinions on one of my favorite topics and favorite beverages or foods, raw milk. So we'll be seeing the gamut of experiences, science, opinions on what I would call one of the most nutrient-dense, delicious, creamy treats that we could eat or drink. But I think the internet might think about it a little bit differently. So let's dive right in, shall we?
Milk is for baby mammals, not adult mammals. Did you know that you're the only animal species on the planet that purposefully drinks liquid milk as an adult? Every other animal on the planet, every other species is too smart for this. They know better. If there were actual usable...
It takes about 30 seconds on Google, if you just Google animals drinking the milk of another animal, to see dozens and dozens of examples of this. And ancestrally speaking, there is data suggests we've been drinking raw milk for at least 10,000 years. And there are paintings and cave paintings, you name it. We also are the only species that drinks other liquid forms of gold, like bone broth. And if that same logic held true, then we shouldn't be drinking bone broth either, right? It's a strange argument, really, when you consider that we do and have been drinking milk for a long time. And to his next point,
nutrition in liquid milk for adult mammals, there'd be another mammal stealing the milk of another mammal. It doesn't happen in nature, and it shouldn't happen in your house either.
Ken says it shouldn't happen in our houses either. Well, my wife and I have been enjoying raw milk for probably 5 years, averaging well over a couple of gallons a week. My wife, even when pregnant, consumed raw milk. We still do. We feed it to our children. So we seem to be doing okay with it. So sorry to break the rules of your ideal householder, Ken, but we're probably going to keep enjoying our raw milk. This already seems more promising. Raw milk. Idaho ranches on why not to pasteurize. Let's go to Idaho.
We just kind of knock the dust off. We just kind of brush the hay and hair off. We're going to strain the milk anyway, so if a piece falls in, we'll get it.
So do you think that raw milk, do you both drink raw milk?
All my life. The raw milk it's easy to assimilate. It digests easily. People get vitamins, supplements. Can you digest that stuff? Maybe you can and maybe you can't.
I like that guy. He looks like me when I'm older. And that's my goals there. In a barn, milking goats, drinking raw milk.
I've drinking the bought milk. I call it cardboard cow. And because that's really what it is. They put so much processing and chemicals and stuff in it, you don't get anything out of that milk. It's just drinking chalk water, basically.
He points out that there's so much adulterating of pasteurized milk that there's basically nothing left in terms of nutrition. I mean, you still have the basics, protein, carbs, and fat constitution. Of course, if you leave it in its whole form, because we also have this obsession with low-fat everything. So usually you've got low-fat milk, you take away a lot of the fat-soluble vitamins, etc. But what he's really highlighting here is the pasteurization process. When you heat and treat that milk, it's going to kill the living, the living environment of that milk. It's going to kill the living enzymes, and it's going to destroy a lot of the usable nutrition that otherwise would be in that milk. And that's before we even talk about homogenization. There is an emerging case. We've always thought with the raw milk conversation that pasteurization is the biggest issue here on the table. But homogenization also seems to be extremely problematic for many people who suffer something that they might call lactose intolerance or irritability when they consume dairy, because they spin the milk to make sure that it doesn't separate, because apparently we're too stupid to not just shake the milk and do that ourselves, which changes the size of the fat molecules. Now, those fat molecules can cause digestive distress, potentially even pass through the gut barrier and cause all manner of problems.
Well, you're going to lose a whole bunch of the natural enzymes and stuff that help it digest quickly. It spoils the taste. It spoils the contents, changes the contents into stuff that you may or may not be able to use. So nature provides. The kids have natural stuff. I think the humans should have natural stuff too.
Nature provides. When you trade in one solution like pasteurization, you potentially cause another problem, which is why almost everybody in the developed West thinks they have lactose intolerance and they think that dairy is a poor food for them, when maybe the solution is getting it locally, getting it from a source that you can trust, and enjoying the health benefits that come with raw milk.
So why is raw milk illegal? Why is it legal? Why is it still legal in so many states?
Oh, I think that goes back to like the 20s and 30s, and when people thought science was going to improve everything, and then in the city in a distribution system where you got lots, like hundreds of cows, and all the milk gets put together and then it gets distributed out. It just probably made sense. Yeah, see, in Idaho, the small herd exemption is 7 goats or less. I can sell this milk if it tests just as clean as what's in the store.
They know that there are potential concerns here, and that's why they test. I know people here that sell raw milk, and they're diligent about the cleanliness practices. They're testing their raw milk. They're making sure that they are giving people health-promoting food. They wouldn't put it out there if they had awful farming practices and there was no cleanliness and they weren't sterilizing bottles, etc. These people care about food, and they care about giving people food. It's a huge sacrifice to live this kind of life on a farm, milking these animals, treating them well, the way nature intended, giving them a natural life, to then say, screw it, we're just going to give people this gross milk. They wouldn't do it. So it's sometimes you get into the realm of raw milk and people think it's just the wild, wild west out there. You're getting it from a milk dealer and God knows where it came from, and you just, shady deals in the back of a parking lot somewhere. It's usually people that care a whole lot about the health of their milk, the health of their animals, and they get a lot of fulfillment and they get a lot of joy from being able to bring that to other people's families. All right, let's see what the doctors have to say about raw milk consumption. Here we go.
The reason that we love buying dairy from the Amish is that they don't pasteurize their dairy.
Even in today's crazy world, I never thought that I would have to ever make a video telling people not to drink unpasteurized milk, but here we are. Milk that is unpasteurized and raw can contain harmful bacteria that can make you very, very sick. It can cause diseases like Guillain-Barré syndrome, hemolytic uremic syndrome, foodborne illnesses such as Listeria, Campylobacter jejuni, Brucella. Pasteurization is a good thing. Before we used to pasteurize our milk and dairy, millions of people worldwide would get sick and die from preventable foodborne illnesses that were spread through raw milk. Once routine pasteurization of milk began in the US in the 20s and became widespread a few decades later, there were dramatic reductions in the number of people getting sick. In fact, it is probably one of the best public health improvements we've ever had. And most of our medical societies recommend pasteurization for all milk.
I mean, most of our medical societies recommend an awful lot of things that, if you are willing to dig into why, don't seem to be all that promoting for health. I mean, he uses a lot of scary words there, and listeria and foodborne illnesses, but I mean, we can get sick from many things. I mean, one of the most common causes of foodborne illness in the United States currently is vegetable and plant matter that you pick up from the supermarket. Another really interesting thing here is that there is a study where they inoculated raw milk and pasteurized milk with a very common bacteria called Campylobacter jejuni. It's one of the most common causes of foodborne illness and food poisoning in the US and the EU. So they took the pasteurized milk and the raw milk and they put this bacteria in it. And what they found after 10 days was quite fascinating. In the pasteurized milk, the milk was fully contaminated, whereas the raw milk had actually neutralized this bacteria. So what you can see there is the capacity for the raw milk to neutralize the bacteria because it's alive and it is adaptable and it is living was not the same in the pasteurized milk because it is dead and has been treated and now became contaminated, overly so, with this bacteria. So a W column for the raw milk there to adapt to pathogens in its environment, neutralize them, and still remain a food that you can drink without getting sick. What does that mean after you consume it? Is it doing the same thing in your body? Is it recognizing pathogens? Is it adapting to those and helping you neutralize them? Pasteurized dairy is almost certainly not.
I've been seeing a lot of influencers tout the purported health benefits of drinking raw milk. And one thing you might not know is that cows also get tuberculosis. and they can give it to us. Like, this is a memoir by a woman named Gloria Paris who contracted tuberculosis in her bones from drinking raw milk. She endured countless surgeries, horrific pain, years of hospitalization, and this isn't like ancient history. She's still alive, as is Gail Perkins, who also wrote an excellent memoir about contracting spinal tuberculosis from drinking raw cow milk. There is a reason we pasteurize milk. In fact, there are a bunch of reasons.
If you look at the risk of you getting sick or, God forbid, getting something like tuberculosis or dying from raw milk, you have infinitely more chances of dying in the car crash, getting in the car, going to pick up your raw milk than you ever do of getting sick from the raw milk itself. It's infinitesimally small, but when you pull out extreme cases and you highlight them, and then you use that as evidence as to why nobody should drink raw milk and that anybody does, is implied as being reckless, silly, stupid, ignorant, or dangerous, then I think you are just pulling at strings. Again, I think there are many people that are thriving on raw milk, and most of the people that are selling raw milk are doing it right. Are there concerns? Are there risks? Yes, but we incur risk with everything we do in our lives. We get in cars, we get on motorcycles, we fly planes across the globe, we do all kinds of stuff. I think in the grand scheme of things, this fear-mongering over raw milk is wildly overblown.
Raw milk and raw dairy cannot be sold to consumers in grocery stores. This is an incredibly healing food and so...
This is downright dangerous. Raw milk can cause serious illness. E. coli, Listeria, Shigella, Cryptosporidium, Guillain-Barré syndrome. There were 98 deaths last year from raw milk. Raw milk is not healthy for you. It doesn't contain more enzymes that are beneficial to you. And besides, enzymes that would be in milk would be destroyed by your stomach acid anyway. Let's just be clear. The reason that raw milk is illegal in most places is because it has caused, in some cases, contamination. There's no evidence that milk from cows fed on grains or fed on grass or organically or from single farms is any better than any other milk.
We have this research from Dr. Axe here who looked at some of these figures, and in pasteurized milk, we see 35% reduction in vitamin A, one of the main nutritional powerhouses found in raw milk, retinol form vitamin A, 100% active in raw milk, 35% reduction through the pasteurization process, 25 to 70% loss of vitamin C, 15% reduction in vitamin E, 66% reduction in iron, 70% of zinc, a 38% reduction in B complex vitamins, 21 to 50% reduction in calcium. Enzymes, 100% destroyed. Immunoglobulins, damaged. Whey protein, denatured. Go down the other side of the list, the raw milk, the enzymes, all of those bioactive peptides, the proteins, the fats, unchanged, undenatured, bioactive, and bioavailable. You gotta love a good appeal to authority, right? That I am the authority, I have this title before my name, therefore I know best than anybody that even dares to offer an alternative opinion is a quack. Don't listen to them. They are dangerous. It should be illegal because it's causing harms, unlike a few other things that have been thrust upon us in the last few years that obviously cause harms, but are not only not illegal, but are actually celebrated and in some cases mandated. What if we mandated health? What if we mandated weightlifting? What if we mandated good quality raw milk? What do you say about that, Dr. Terry? So there you have it, fam. It's a mixed bag when it comes to raw milk. We're not doctors. We're not telling you what you should do. We're just highlighting that many of us choose to enjoy raw milk for its nutrients, its delicious flavor, and the fact that it helps us meet our nutritional goals. I personally believe that raw milk is a very health-promoting food, and I think that if you can find a good, reliable source, that you should enjoy raw milk if it is your tendency and your desire to do so. The world of the internet gets very black and white, and that's what goes viral. So you're either going to have the raw milk is the solution to everything crowd, and the people that raw milk will give you bone cancer, never drink it. Usually the truth is found somewhere in the middle, and I hope that we help you to uncover your own truth. And if you want to try raw milk and enjoy raw milk, then it is your God-given freedom and right to do so. So we'll see you next time. I've worked up quite a thirst. I'm gonna go chug a glass of milk, and I'll see you next time.